Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of 1 Samuel, the 5th chapter. And this basically goes through what ends up happening now after the Philistines had taken the Ark of God and now brought it into their land. So this is 1 Samuel chapter 5, verse 1. And the Philistines took the Ark of God and brought it from Ebenezer onto Ashdod. And back to the map that I had before. Because remember, it was here that the Israelites had camped. And having lost to the Philistines, both Hophni and Phinehas, Eli's sons, were dead, right? They were slain. And the ark was taken, right? So the Philistines brought it all the way back into their land to Ashdod. When the Philistines took the ark of God, they brought it into the house of Dagon and set it by Dagon. And Dagon was one of their deities, which is kind of like a part man, part fish deity that they had. So into the temple of Dagon, they brought the ark of the Lord. And when they of Ashdod rose early on the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the earth before the ark of the Lord Yahweh. So you can imagine they were likely worshipers, right, that came to worship Dagon, right, and whatever practices that they did. And when they got to the temple, they saw that basically the idol, because that's what it was an idol, was like face down, right, before the ark. And they took Dagon and set him in his place again. So they probably didn't think much of it. So they just picked him back up, put the idol back down. And when they arose early on the morrow, the morrow morning, so the next morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of the Lord. And the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold. Now the palms, is just talking about the hands, the actual hands, because you can't cut off the palms, right? But it's just to say that the head and the hands were cut off from this idol, and it was face down, and all that was left, when it says here, were cut off upon the threshold, meaning where they fell were on the threshold, or like the entrance or the stairs, you could say, leading into the temple. And all that was left, only the stump of Dagon was left to him, because it's made of wood. So basically the base of it was what was left. Therefore neither the priests of Dagon, nor any that come into Dagon's house, the worshippers of Dagon, tread on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod on to this day. So due to this event, they made it, I guess, a decree amongst themselves to where anybody that came into the temple of Dagon wouldn't step on that threshold, or that part of the entrance where Dagon's head and hands had fallen. But the hand of the Lord Yahweh was heavy upon them of Ashdod, and he destroyed them and smote them with emerods, even Ashdod and the coasts thereof, because it was, right, a coastal plain or a coastal region. Now, when you go into emerods, it's basically like tumors in like your anal cavity. So when you, I'll read it from here. But that surely must not have been a pleasant plague. Tumors, hemorrhoids, piles. It says here, especially a tumor in the anus or pudenda, i.e. the piles. And when we read it from the Chaldee lexicon, it says here, tumors of the anus, hemorrhoid protruding from the anus. And when you just look up what hemorrhoids are, it'll tell you, right? Swollen and inflamed veins in the rectum or anus. So they were, it was not a fun moment for them. So the Lord was destroying them and plaguing them throughout their whole land. And when the men of Ashdod saw that it was so, they said, nah, the ark of the God of Israel shall not abide with us. Oh no, it got to go. I don't know where it's going to go, but it's not going to be with us. For his hand is sore upon us and upon Dagon our God. So they were basically like at this point, because later on it'll tell you how long the ark dwelt within the territory of the Philistines before they sent it back. So, for that duration of time, be it a month or two or however long it was, they're basically getting plagued and hit heavy with this. As it says, the hand of the Lord was sore upon them. So it was not a good time for them. They were like, yo, you got to get this out of here. As it says, they calling the lords of the Philistines. It says, they sent therefore and gathered all the lords of the Philistines unto them and said, what shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel? So they wanted answers, and they wanted them quick. I mean, because living with plagues like that is uncomfortable, right? They're like, man, I haven't taken a proper shit in 3 days. This shit is crazy. They so, and this just goes to show you, right? Like there's, so many different ways the Lord can plague you. And some you just you wouldn't even think about until it actually befalls you. And then you realize just how terrible the Lord can be. So they call their lords, and they have this discussion on how they can, what should they do with the ark? And they answered, let the ark of the God of Israel be carried about to Gath, or onto Gath, which from here, right? This is showing basically where the ark moved from, right? So it went from Ashdod, and they sent it to Gath, another city in the land of the Philistines. And they carried the ark of the God of Israel about thither. And it was so that after they had carried it about, the hand of the Lord Yahweh was against the city with a very great destruction. And he smote the men of the city, both small and great, and they had emerods in their secret parts. And we've gone over what that means. Okay? And so they were getting plagued heavily. Some were probably even dying of it. And it got to the point where it was too much for them. Therefore, they sent the ark of God to Ekron. They said, oh, no, we ain't doing it either. You can pass it on to them over there in Ekron. So they passed it up. And it came to pass, as the ark of God came to Ekron, that the Ekronites cried out, saying, they have brought about the ark of the God of Israel to us, to slay us and our people. Because they had heard what was going on. Like, yo, the ark was basically onto them like a curse. So they sent and gathered together all the lords of the Philistines, and said, send away the ark of the God of Israel, and let it go again to his own place, that it slay us not and our people. For there was a deadly destruction throughout all the city. The hand of God was very heavy there, meaning the Lord was enacting great judgment upon them, to where they were dying, they were being plagued, they were just being tormented. And the men that died not were smitten with the emerods, and the cry of the city went up to heaven. So they were in heavy distress. So they were quick. They were just about ready, to return that ark. And that brings us to the end of 1 Samuel, the 5th chapter. Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechak, Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.